That's right. Dragon Ball Super is coming this July. Nothing can stop that now. You would think that every Dragon Ball fan out there would be really, really happy and excited, and I'm sure 95% of them are. But then there's that 5%. Then there's those fans who, and I kind of understand, there are those fans who are worried, who are concerned, who are apprehensive because they don't want Dragon Ball Super to become another Dragon Ball GT. Well, with this video, I'm going to give you three huge reasons as to why Dragon Ball Super, no matter how you slice it, no matter what happens, will not be like Dragon Ball GT. Now, will it be a failure? Will it be a success? We don't know yet. As of the recording of this video, we don't know. However, will it be like GT? No. And I'm going to give you 3 reasons why after this. Remember to subscribe and also follow me on Twitter and other social media. Check out my website and communicate with me directly. Alright, so I'm going to go through these quickly here and not take up too much of your time. Number 3, Goku isn't turning into a kid again. Now, one of the biggest complaints, maybe the biggest complaint that I've heard from Dragon Ball fans about GT is the fact that Goku was a kid again for the entirety of the series. Some people say that, well, it was boring at first, and some people say there are plot holes, and, you know, it's too short, and there's all kinds of complaints about GT. The music's different, and I'm talking about both the Japanese and the dub, because the Bruce Falconer fans, Bruce didn't come back for GT. Everybody knows that. I think Mike Menza did it. And then for the Japanese version, Shinsuke Kikuchi was gone, and he was replaced by Akihito Tokunaga, who I think did a pretty good job, but definitely not on the level of Kikuchi. Anyways, the biggest complaint that I've heard from a lot of fans is that Goku was a kid again. That's not happening here, folks. And really, a lot of this has to do with my number 1 reason. A lot of these, here's the reality. A lot of them have to all kind of link together to my number 1, which is coming up here in a minute. But don't expect that to happen. I'm pretty sure Goku will be an adult the entire time for this series, regardless of whether or not it takes place before the end of Dragon Ball Z or after. Again, we don't know that as of the recording of this video. So, moving on, let's not waste any time. The number 2 reason why it's not going to be like GT is because Akira Toriyama is going to be more involved than he was during GT. During GT, Toriyama just did some character designs, gave some ideas here and there. Apparently, from what we understand, Toriyama has a story idea already written for at least the beginning, the early arc of Dragon Ball Super. Therefore, Dragon Ball Super is not going to be like Dragon Ball GT in the sense that there's much more Toriyama involvement. And I'm going to do a separate video about why Toriyama is involved with Dragon Ball again. And it's actually quite funny. Some of you already know, but for those who don't, I will make a video about that very soon. Either way, Toriyama, like him or not, you can say that he's been lazy at times as a writer. You can say that he has certain tropes. He's too much of a comedian, and that's all true in a way. Toriyama is a gag manga writer, but with this series, Toriyama's more involved in the actual story process, and I believe, and I'm hoping that him working with Kimitotsi Shioka is going to actually work out best in the sense that you've got somebody who's been involved with the franchise who's kind of young coming in, hopefully with some fresh ideas to be able to really crank some good stuff out of Toriyama and inspire Toriyama to do this. I'm hoping that this series, that Toriyama's on board for this, and that's not just Toei coming to Toriyama, ask him to write something. I'm hoping that Toriyama actually has an idea, has a good idea, has a fresh idea, and is going to be able to produce something as great as he did in the 80s and the 90s. But again, Dragon Ball Super's got him. GT only had him for a few things, so big difference there. Let's go ahead and move on to our number 1 reason as to why Dragon Ball Super is not going to be like Dragon Ball GT. And I'm really here just to calm you guys down. I've seen some people, oh, it's going to be like GT. I hope it's not like GT. It's not. This is no different than people saying that Star Wars The Force Awakens, oh, well, the prequel sucked, therefore this is going to suck. No, folks, first of all, it's a very negative mentality, and I'm telling you right now, take it from me, be a positive person in your life and in your fandom. Even though things do let us down, you know, a lot of things always are going to be disappointing. it's always better to be positive because the good things that are not disappointing are always great. So be more positive, guys. Be more positive. So it's not going to be, Force Awakens will not be like the prequels because of the same reason that Dragon Ball Super is not going to be like Dragon Ball GT, because it's 2015, not 1996. That's my number one reason. And what does that mean? What do I mean by that? 2015, completely different TOEI, completely different staff, completely different idea. In fact, let's go a step further. Completely different world. First of all, Osamu Kasai, who directed GT, is not involved in this project. Kimitoshi Chioka is. Therefore, Kimitoshi Chioka is going to be bringing a fresh outlook to the series, or so we believe. Different creative team. Toriyama's there, like I said. But here's the thing. Here's the main thing. You know, in 1996, none of us ever thought, and a lot of you guys who are watching this video weren't involved in the fandom back then. A lot of people got into Dragon Ball Z with Toonami in 1998. I was around in 96, 97, and I can tell you that getting GT tapes is, you know, when it was airing for the first time was very, very difficult. It's a different era. Anime, not just GT. Anime was not what it was in the 2000s at all. It was kind of a niche thing. It was kind of a tape trading thing. Now with the internet exploding, we're talking about the possibility of maybe doing a Dragon Ball Super simulcast where they're going to air it in Japan and then we'll be able to watch it, you know, on Crunchyroll or whatever, or maybe even watch it subtitled like a week later or the next day, and then we get the dub later on. I don't know. There's talk about that now in the community. We would have never got that back in 97. Dragon Ball was nothing in 97 compared to what it became after it blew up on Toonami. Also, you guys gotta understand this. Toei is a business. They learn from their mistakes. You don't think Toei knows that turning Goku into a kid was a bad idea? Their ratings dropped after episode 2 of Dragon Ball GT. They fell in the toilet. They know. You don't think they know that GT was a flop in Japan? You don't think they know that GT didn't even do that well in this country despite all the changes they wanted to make, like give it a cool hip rap song because kids like that even though the song fucking sucked? Sorry, I drank some coffee this morning, all right? So, no, I'm all right. But you get what I'm saying. Like, these guys are a business. They learn from their mistakes. Same thing with The Force Awakens and the prequels. J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy are very aware of the criticisms that the fans gave the prequels. Too much CGI, too much bad acting, blah, blah, blah. They know this, and they're going to fix it for The Force Awakens. Whether or not it's a good movie, they're not going to make the same mistakes. Will they make other mistakes? Maybe. Same thing with Dragon Ball Super. Don't, you know, in other words, don't not think. So understand that these guys have learned from their mistakes. They have the numbers. They know it's all about making money. And here's the thing. They know GT was not a success. Whether you like GT or not, it was nowhere near the success that Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z were on television. But the only reason why this show is even happening, well, not the only reason, but the real reason, folks, is because of the money. If they did not feel that Dragon Ball had enough of an audience to warrant a new television show, we wouldn't even be getting Dragon Ball Super. There would not even be a Dragon Ball Super if people did not go out and buy Battle of Gods in the theater, go see Battle of Gods in the theater in North America, around the world, then continuing on, purchasing the video games. Xenoverse is still like the highest selling game for Namco Bandai this year. You know, I don't even know what the fuck else they put out, so maybe that's not that big of an accomplishment, but Dragon Ball games always sell pretty well. And then more importantly, when FUKKATSU no F dropped and the hype behind it, they already had projections of it being a huge movie. And then when it beat Fast and the Furious 7 in Japan, I mean, what more can you say? Yeah, let's make a series. Let's put out some more toys. Let's put out some more video games. Let's let the fans, us, spend our money on it. And we're going to spend our money on it if it's good. So they know they have to deliver a quality product or else this thing's going to last about 15 episodes before people get sick of it. So they've got to hit some impact early on. So that's it. Calm down. A lot of you guys worried about something like GT. It's a totally different era. You can't compare 96 to 2015. You can't do it. Toriyama's involved this time. before Boo, after Boo, it doesn't matter. It is not going to be like GT. It's going to be different, and hopefully it's going to be a whole lot better. Anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you have a lovely day. I hope that we all can enjoy Dragon Ball Super together and talk about it on this channel, and I will catch you down the road.